welcome back. Sabrina here, and today I'm going to share with you guys my simple DIY stain remover recipe for clothing. I love this recipe. It is so awesome. It's chemical free, and we'll talk a little bit more on that in a minute, but it is all natural. It's fairly healthy for you, but I don't know about you guys, but I am constantly tired of constantly using Shout stain remover. It's so bad for you. It has so many stinking chemicals in it, and it's just not a good thing to use. It works some of the time, but I will say that I really hate the smell, and I don't like using it. I don't like the feel of it, and I really don't like it on my kids' clothes. And so I'm really excited to show you this recipe because it's super easy and it cleans so well. I mean, all you mamas out there who have like baby poop, yes, baby poop, sorry if it's gross, baby poop stains on your kids' clothes is awful and so hard to get out. So this will help you. It's gotten all the baby poop out of my kids' clothes. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Alright everybody, so I have some clothing here, as you can see, that are very much stained from, yes, my child, and I have a couple more clothes that we're going to treat today too. I have some gloves here, and then I also have a glass bowl and some Q-tips. Then we're going to use hydrogen peroxide as first ingredient. I also have some dish soap here. I will show you the brand here in just a moment, and then some baking soda. So those are the only ingredients that you're going to need. Alright, so take that glass bowl and baking soda, and we're going to be using 2 teaspoons worth of baking soda, and you're just going to put that in the bowl. Now this recipe should treat about 10 pieces of clothing, maybe more, maybe less, depending on how severe the stain is. But you can just double or half the recipe depending on how many pieces of clothing you're going to be treating. Alright, so now you're going to take your dish soap, and the dish soap that I used for this recipe was the Palmolive antibacterial. This isn't ideal because it's not all natural. I normally use an all natural brand of dish soap, but I didn't, and this is what I had on hand, but you can use any kind of dish soap. And then I would do 1 teaspoon of dish soap and pour that in with your baking soda. Alright, so now you're going to take your hydrogen peroxide, and what I like to do is just pour enough in to make a thick, smooth paste. Now, when I say thick, I don't mean super duper chalky thick, I just mean like a smooth, like cloudy paste. So don't make sure it's not too thick, because that's just going to make a mess, and you won't be able to use as much. So the runnier it is, the more you can use. So I'm actually going to add just a little bit more hydrogen peroxide, and I would rather have it runnier than not, because this stuff is fairly concentrated and works really well. So that's what I'm going to do here. And just to clarify, you definitely don't want it too runny, because like if it's just peroxide in there, the other stuff's not going to work as well. So just make sure you don't make it too runny either. Alright, so here's what the mixture looks like. So all done and finished. So I'm going to go ahead and use some gloves because my skin is super sensitive. I have dermatitis, and so I have to wear gloves with pretty much everything I do. Kind of sucks, but that's why I'm wearing gloves. Alright, so take the clothes that you're going to treat, and you're going to make sure that they get really wet with like warm water, hot water, warm water, just as long as it's not cold water. And then you're going to kind of squeeze all the water out of them just so that they're damp. They need to be fairly wet. Alright, so now that the clothes are all wet and the water's been squeezed out of them, I'm going to go ahead and treat them. Alright, so as you can see, there's a major stain on this little jammy that I have here, and so we're going to go ahead and treat this first. So take a good little spoonful of it, not too much, just enough to cover the stain. Just put a little bit on, kind of just dab it on there. You might need more, you might not, just depends. Alright, so now you can either take a Q-tip and rub it into the material, or you can take your finger, which I actually prefer. It gets the job, I think, done better. And then you kind of just rub it into your clothing. So, and I like to do it on the inside of the stain and on the outside actually too, just so that you kind of cover your bases. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing to all the other pieces of clothing that need treated. So this is just so easy and simple. I love this recipe, and it's not toxic, which is great and a super big plus for me. I don't like toxins on my kids, and I really think that it's just better for you. So I did want to mention too that you can store this stuff. You could make a big batch of it if you'd like and store it in your laundry room. It just might get a little dried out, so you'll probably have to add more peroxide to it. So just a heads up, but you can store it, yes. Now what I'm doing here is I'm actually going to add a little bit more peroxide to this piece of clothing because it is severely stained. Like, I'm not even sure if just one treatment's going to work with this one. It might take 2 treatments, which is actually fairly normal, just even with Shout. But we'll see what the end results are. But yeah, so I just like to add a little bit more and kind of help it along. Alright, so I went ahead and put the treated clothes back in the bucket, and I'm going to go ahead and take that bucket to the laundry room and let it sit overnight. Alright, so next day, and I'm going to go ahead and throw these clothes in the washer. So I just throw them in the washer. I actually like to add a little bit of vinegar, especially to stained clothes. It just kind of helps the process along a little bit. So add a little bit of vinegar. If it's a big load, add a little bit more. Vinegar is actually a really good natural softener too. So yeah. Alright, so I set my washer when I'm washing stained clothes to warm cold instead of just cold. It'll kind of help get the stains out better. Alright, so this is the end result. As you can see, most of the stains came out of this one. There's a little bit left over here, and I'll just have to treat it a second time and that'll come right out, but sometimes it takes more than one treatment. As you can see, some of these clothes will still have some stain left on the clothing, and that just means they need a second treatment. And normally it just takes 2 treatments and it pretty much takes care of the job. So this is a very thorough clean, very thorough stain remover. I really like how well it works, so I would highly encourage you guys to try it. Let me know in the comment section down below if you did try it, and let me know if you had success. And yeah, if you have any questions, please ask them in the comment section down below. Love to hear them. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As you can see, this works really well, and it has worked very well for our family. So, alright, I will see you guys next time. Have a great week. Bye!